yesterday while looking ahead to today's sports day. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3.
If you were to go around town today to various businesses, really of all kind of large, small, in between, delivery services, retail locations, things like that. Usually the gal at the front desk has the big, huge desk calendar and is marking off the days with an X, pink or green or, light blue, lavender, something along those lines. The more creative ones have a different color for each month. Okay. So just do that as a casual observation. Another casual observation from yesterday, the Rangers and the Astros, with regard to the fine broadcasts of both. I really, really enjoyed Eric Nadel yesterday as I was driving around town in the rain. He was, it was vintage stuff, just the very casual, relaxed trivia, kind of intermingled in, amongst the guys. They had a trivia question about only two teams, and I can't remember all the players, but only two teams had three guys that were 20-20 guys, 20 home runs, 20 stolen bases. And so they were teasing that and guessing on the 88 Mets and the 2009 Philadelphia Phillies. Okay. And so I was playing along, and I only got one of them right, but I don't know. I really enjoyed that, and that's to me part of. There's two aspects of a baseball broadcast I think that I really enjoy. One is the compelling, sit on the edge of your seat, 3-2 game, 5-4 game, whatever, where the game means something, pennant race time or conference race time, or you get into the NCAA tournament, or you get into the postseason play, whatever, wild card games, especially day games too, where you're kind of in and out of the broadcast. And then the other aspect is, on when a team is playing and they're way out of it, and it just becomes a conversation of two or three guys just sitting there talking, and the ball game's going on. I just find that incredibly enjoyable.
Yeah, sometimes you got to switch modes, because in a game that's meaningless or a game that's a blowout, you can't try to act like you're dialed into every pitch and that's what people want to hear.
Yeah.
Or it's just, you can do it a little bit in other sports, but I guess it's a little bit different with all the downtime of baseball. But it's, and Nadel's, he's a pro at giving you both.
He is, right. He's able to do both. Like, if there's a no-hitter going on, there's no silly business. But if it's a, here we are now in the month of September, there'll be a lot of background stories about this player, or even guys coming up. He has the ability to shift gears from, old ballparks or old players or things along those lines. And I think for the Mets, it was Kevin Elster, Howard Johnson, and Darryl Strawberry. And for the 88 Mets, I had guessed Lenny Dykstra, Mookie Wilson, and Darryl Strawberry. And Nadel, I think, guessed Hojo, Strawberry, and then he had Mookie Wilson, too. So I felt like, I'm feeling pretty good if I'm at least got two of the same names that Nadel got.
Sure.
But he was wrong. But anyway, that was one aspect. The other aspect, and this is really directed to Astro fans, and you guys can give your opinions as well. But I was listening to the Astro broadcast at the very beginning, and they had a highlight from when they won the World Series. And I was just thinking, okay, with what we know about that team, and with what we know about what transpired, and I'm not saying that the Astros were the first team in the history of ever to cheat at winning a World Series. They were the first ones to get caught and be absolutely blatant about it, with what they did and stealing signs and the trash cans and the whole thing. But I was just wondering, if you're an Astros fan and every time you hear that, does it make you happy? Does it make you mad? Does it make you indifferent? Does it make you somewhat embarrassed? Like, God, I wish they wouldn't play that. You know what I'm saying?
Wouldn't play.
The highlight of them winning the World Series.
Oh no! I think if you're an Astros fan, you forget all that stuff. That's not clouding your memory.
Okay.
Yeah, memories of that. No, I think you dial in. You're 100% supporting of your team. You might have a little bit in the back of your mind. Hate that we got it that way, or can't wait for us to win another one to kind of shut everybody up or whatever. But at the same time, I don't think you're embarrassed by that. I just don't. I think you just kind of let it get past. You just kind of get past that. You let yourself get past it.
Because I guess in fairness, what you could say is, well, how do such and such fan base feel about winning one in football, or how does or basketball or something like that, where you maybe feel like that players cheated,
or guys were using steroids or whatever. That you just say, okay, well, we cheated in this way, but other teams have cheated in other ways.
Yeah.
I think Michigan still likes hearing the Fab Five calls.
Yeah, no doubt. No, and that's certainly one. You certainly
that's a little bit. That feels a little bit different to me because it was taken away from them. The Astros World Series was not taken away from them.
Yeah,
right. Except that we all know in sports that's the stupidest thing we can do, because we all know who won the World Series that year. We all know what the Fab Five didn't do in the finals. I mean, in the NCAA National Championship.
They made it to the Final Four.
And first, Michigan never won one.
Right, no, but we know they got to the Final Four. We know that they got there. We know what those guys did on the court, taking the memory. They can't take the memory out of our brain.
Yeah, we know they called timeouts that they didn't have to take.
Yeah.
At least
We're probably more embarrassed by that.
Sorry about you, right?
Or more embarrassed by the fact that none of them can get along. Or more embarrassed that one of their key players is now the coach and he tried to fight people last year in the middle of the game.
See, those are things they should be embarrassed about.
Those are the things.
Right. Tyler says, this flags fly forever. I will always enjoy the highlights. Okay. I get it. No, I understand.
If I was an Astro fan, that's why I'd be.
Yeah. Again, it just struck me as I was listening to that broadcast on 100.7 The Score. It's like, I wonder. I just said to myself, I wonder how Astros fans feel about that. So now I know. This Astros won more games on the road that playoff year. Okay.
There's no doubt they were a great team.
There's no doubt. So we'll have Rangers on the air tonight at 5:30 as they'll take on the Red Sox on 100.7 The Score this evening. So if you want a little baseball, you can get that.
I'm more interested to see how Major League Baseball writers are going to treat them when it comes to the Hall of Fame. Because I've moved past your question, because I think, like Tyler said, flags fly forever. They didn't take it away from them. They're the champs. Okay. All right. But how are the guys in that era going to be thought of when it comes to Hall of Fame kind of stuff, right? I mean, the Correas and Altuves and Bregman and Springer. I mean,
those are the ones that were popping into my mind, right?
Those are the guys that are worthy of being Hall of Famers, right?
2 of them have admitted, and 2 of them have not.
And 2 of them were very cocky and, just didn't show any sort of remorse.
You can kind of almost compare the Clemens and Bonds and Andy Pettitte situation with that. Now, sure. I'm not sitting here saying that Pettitte, maybe Pettitte becomes a Hall of Famer at some point in time. I don't know if he has enough wins. Yeah,
I don't know either. But that's a good point. But I think that it's just our society seems to accept that. I mean, as much as we all want to point out people's flaws, we accept it when you admit it.
Yeah.
We okay, you messed up. We move on, okay? And I think that Bregman and Springer are going to be treated better than Correa and Altuve when it comes to that. The baseball writers, we know they're a bunch of buffoons, and they feel like this is their chance to get, this higher power that they long for so much, and it's ridiculous, but I don't know how. I just feel like that's going to hurt Altuve and Correa.
Meanwhile, Justin Verlander probably already was a Hall of Famer without that 2017 season, but certainly helped him.
Big plays plays, and even bigger laughs. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3.
Time for this day in sports history. Today is the first day of September 2022. Here is Jeff McGuire.
Going to start us off in 1906 because the Philadelphias beat the Red Sox 4-1 in 24 innings in Boston. It's the longest game in the American League Baseball history. Both starters went the distance as the A's hurler Jack Combs overcomes Boston's Joe Harris.
Wow.
24 innings. That's a lot of baseball. 1931. Future Baseball Hall of Fame first baseman Lou Gehrig hits his third grand slam in 4 days and sixth homer in consecutive games in New York's 5-1 win over the Boston Red Sox. 1967. Cincinnati's reliever Bob Lee walks Dick Groat with the bases loaded in the 21st inning to give the Giants a 1-0 win at Crosby Field. 20 scoreless innings ties the Major League Baseball mark with the Pirates and the Braves from 1918.
Goodness.
Bases loaded walk-off extra inning win in the 21st inning.
Dick Groat, a college baseball Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
1971, Pittsburgh Pirates start what is believed to be the very first all-black lineup, including several Latinos, in Major League Baseball history, in a 10-7 win over the Philadelphia Phillies. Hall of Famers Roberto Clemente and Willie Stargell were members of that team.
Manny Sanguillen. I wonder if Doc Ellis started that game as the pitcher.
I don't have the whole game for that roster. 1971, excuse me. 1972, if I were to say chess champion, who do you think of?
Bobby Fischer.
That's the only name I can think of as well, and this is the day that the American chess grandmaster Bobby Fischer beats Russian champion Boris Spassky 12.5 to 8.5, no idea what that means, in Reykjavik, Iceland. It is the most publicized world title match ever played. It's Fischer's first American. He's the first American to win the title.
It's crazy because I remember that craze over Bobby Fischer. He was young, and he was up against the Russian, and of course, in those days, you had the Cold War, and you had the, the Ruskies and the Red Phone, and just the dun 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 dun. Just you think of the Russian
Imperial March.
No, you just think of the Russian tanks going through the in the Kremlin and
to the Imperial March. I usually normally think of it from the Russian anthem.
Anyway,
so wasn't that Darth Vader song?
Yeah, that's why I'm a little shocked that that's the one Shuck pulled.
It works, though. I mean, Darth Vader, if he was going to be, working for some country, it would be Russia.
Yeah.
It's a thought that's going to fester. I think there's somebody worse. But
you can't, okay.
That's a thought that's going to fester.
I think it fits.
1975, New York Met pitcher Tom Seaver shuts out the Pittsburgh Pirates 3-0. First to reach 200 strikeouts for a Major League Baseball record 8 straight season. In 1984, Willie Totten from Mississippi Valley State passes for a Division I AA record of 536 yards, 9 touchdowns, in an 86-0 win over Kentucky State.
Wow.
Whoa.
He was probably helped a little bit by his wide receiver, Jerry Rice, who caught 17 passes for 294 yards and 5 scores, breaking his own Division I AA record for total yardage and pass receptions.
When you said Mississippi Valley State, much like when you said chess champion, I immediately thought of Jerry Rice. So okay, how many balls did Jerry Rice catch?
1999, ex-Pittsburgh Penguins star Mario Lemieux is approved as the new owner of the struggling franchise. The Penguins become the very first club in pro sports history to be owned by a former member of their team. And in 2006, this is when you guys are about to start booing, Roger Goodell begins his 10 years NFL commissioner. Watching the NFL draft anytime, Roger,
that wears me out.
Like, if he's done something today, I'm in booing him.
It just wears me out.
We're just booing for the sake of booing.
Yeah.
It is beginning of the month, which means It's National Chicken, Honey, Mushroom, Papaya, Potato, and Rice Month.
I think I'm out on the mushrooms and the papaya.
I like papaya.
Me too.
It's not my favorite.
I'll pass on both those.
And I'm 99% sure this is how you say it. It's one of those words I know. I know what it is. It's National Gyro Day.
Gyro?
Yeah, Euro is right.
Gyro.
Oh, gyro.
I don't think it's gyro. I think it's Euro.
I think it's gyro.
I think it's Gyro.
Gyro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a sandwich?
Kind of.
It's a Greek sandwich.
Yeah, it's Greek.
It's a gyro.
Okay.
No. I hear people say it both ways.
Do you?
I don't know
Okay.
if they're joking when they say gyro or whatever, because it doesn't look like Euro, but you hear a lot of people say it that way, so I have no idea.
I have had one. They are delicious,
Yeah.
but I always get the word wrong. And I would love to tell you whose birthday it is today. However, I just really feel like somebody else can do this just a whole lot better.
Third down. Here's a deal where that last timeout gets used by Tech if they can hold it and get the first down here. Pulling. Intercepted! Zach Thomas! Zach Thomas! Touchdown!
Told you you're flirting with danger.
49 today for the
49.
former
Wow.
Texas Tech linebacker. Dr. Phil, 72. Gloria Estefan, 65. Barry Gibbs, 76. Lily Tomlin, 83. Tim Hardaway, 56. Jason Taylor, 48. And Clinton Portis is 41. And on this day in 1985, 73 years after it sank in the North Atlantic to the North Atlantic floor, a joint U.S.-French expedition locates the wreck of the RMS Titanic. The second liner was about 400 miles southeast of Newfoundland in the North Atlantic, some 13,000 feet below the surface. And we were all paying attention to that when Robert Ballard then later found the Bismarck. And that is this day in sports history.
Okay. Let's see here. This helped from the Yates Flooring Center chat line, which I knew that we could count on that. The word comes from the Greek word for spin, a fact confirmed by staff at Greektown restaurant Athena. Gyro, right? Am I saying that right? Gyro would apply to a single sandwich, as in I want a gyro, while gyros would be the correct pronunciation if you were to say I love gyros, Greek experts said. Okay.
I don't know that I got it figured out still.
I know what they are. They are delicious.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say
I feel like every time I hear someone say gyro, they're just kind of joking around because that's what it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
But I am not a Greek food expert.
Me neither.
So I am far from being the guy to ask on that one. I'm really not a food expert of any kind.
Guns Up Girl, who's in Georgia this morning, and man, we have not heard from her in quite some time. She says the word comes from the Greek word for spin. Blah, 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 blah. She gives the same deal. Gyro would apply for a single sandwich. Okay. Well, I trust Guns Up Girl. Greek experts said July 23rd, 2018. According to this, I love gyros. Typical ingredients, lamb and mutton. Ugh.
What?
I'm out on both of that. You out on the lamb and the mutton?
I don't know that I've ever had either.
Yeah.
But I'm probably not going to make an effort to try it either.
I can tell you this. I was right about 1971, the Pirates, when they had their...
who the starting pitcher was?
Yeah, Doc Ellis. And Manny Sanguillen was the catcher. And Al Oliver was over at first base. So, I mean, they won a World Series, and those are all, for me, 8 of the 9 names are very familiar. The only one that didn't stand out to me was Gene Clines, who was in center field, but I think he was a terrific player. When you have Rennie Stennett, Roberto Clemente, Willie Stargell, Manny Sanguillen, Dave Cash.
See how
Al
a guy
Oliver.
might get forgotten.
Yeah, Jackie Hernandez, who was the shortstop, and then Doc Ellis, who was the pitcher, who was a terrific pitcher, said. Anyway, so that's this day in sports history. 6:55, we'll talk Red Raider football as the Red Raiders get ready for the Racers of Murray State. Hopefully they're not racing around too much. Hopefully they're racing to get out of town if they got their butt whooped. How about that?
Be nice.
Yeah. We look forward to that on Saturday night. Our Optimum Game Day Live coverage begins at 7 a.m. Saturday morning.
Getting you up and getting your sports day started. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3.
Nice to have you with us with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Yates Flooring Center chat line is open. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app presented by Happy State Bank to participate. Benchmark hotline is open as well at 806-771-0973. High school football tonight in the city. It's Monterey and Wiley over at Lowry Stadium. That's a 7 o'clock kickoff tonight, weather permitting. We'll have Red Raider football with Joey McGuire tonight. No need to worry about the weather. The only thing we need to worry about is can Coach McGuire, get in a boat and find his way to his radio show, which I think he's fine. I think it would keep an awful lot. We'd have to have an awful lot of rain to keep Joey McGuire from anywhere. I think he'd swim through it to be able to get to talk to people and shake hands and kiss babies and things along those lines.
Well, I don't think it's supposed to rain today, so I think I don't think it's supposed to rain much, I should say.
Yeah.
So I think he'll be fine. I think the water will dry up as the day goes along.
Okay, man, it was. I
got to drive through some lakes on my way home yesterday.
Man, it was dicey. There were some dicey moments yesterday. You got to be careful because some of these, low-lying, intersections.
I don't see any rain in the
can drown you out.
forecast for the rest of the day.
Okay, great.
So,
This fire sprinkler guy thinks Chuck should rewrite science for the meteorologist. Okay. Raiders' dad says this: I would have been on Team Chuck on this lightning issue until 2 weeks ago when lightning struck my front yard while we were watching out the window and saw the damage it did. What did it do? I'm Team I'll wait for the lightning to pass now. Okay. Bullfighter says Joey Mack walks on water, Chuck. Yeah. It's the damnedest thing. Guy hasn't coached a game yet, and he does. He walks on water. It's almost like, and you made a great point the other day, Jamie, when you said, there's a part of me that's like, let's just have some more preseason because it's going so well right now for everybody. Everybody's just on the same page. We haven't had a controversial call yet or a close game or a disappointing loss or anything yet. It's been all just nothing but, pinwheels and unicorns.
I think we as sports fans, we tend to we build people up pretty quickly,
and
tear them down
Yeah.
just the same.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of a vicious cycle.
Yeah, no doubt. Mm-hmm. I was thinking about something during the break. Last year, I don't know, I think we spent a lot of time talking about, the running back situation and SaRodorick Thompson and Taj Brooks. Part of it was due to health. Part of it might have been how we perceived how the offense was going to be and that you felt like, man, you really got to have them. I think the other thing, too, was the opening game last week against Houston, based on how the previous season had gone. And, I think there was a lot of pressure on that football team last year to win that first game. Not that they were going to fire the coach after one game, but that was certainly a game that was, I think, circled by okay, you got to win that game. You got to show, because we were looking for progress. You were looking for indications of, have we hired the right guy? You weren't saying that we didn't hire the right guy. You were just looking for an indication of, do we have the right people in place here?
Yeah, I think by that last year, I think people definitely already had an opinion.
Yeah.
That we had hired the wrong guy.
Yeah. But isn't it interesting, though? Am I right on that? Didn't we spend a lot of time talking about SaRodorick and Taj? And we haven't spent that much time talking about them, I think, in the weeks leading up to this game.
Yeah, known commodities.
Yeah.
Know what to expect. They've been here a long time. Confidence in both of them.
Yeah.
You also know that both of them are going to play a bunch. So it's not like it's one or the other,
right? Because
with the quarterbacks,
right? It's listed on the depth chart. SaRodorick's listed first, and then there's Taj Brooks. So, no Cameron Valdez for this game. He's out for a couple of weeks. Might be back for North Carolina State. Has dinged up a knee. So that's maybe the one thing you'd like to see just a little bit more of, but we'll see. So I'll be curious to see how much running they do or passing out of the backfield. I'm hopeful that Loic Fungi can really be a downfield threat for you, and presumably healthy. I mean, he's been practicing. He's fine. Hopefully he can stay healthy. He's a big target at 6'4", so I mean he's got really good hands, and has been a highly anticipated player for this football team. Just hasn't been able to do it yet consistently. Because of injuries.
Sure.
So kind of looking at that, and then of course people look at Miles Price, and then I'll be interested to see what Xavier White does as well. I mean, you get the ball in his hands; he's got explosive speed. Just
sure.
About getting the ball in his hands.
He's definitely shown you that already.
Yeah, without a doubt. So that's kind of what we have to look forward to on Saturday. I think it should be fun. So that's, I think, just with everything that they've got planned, from the beginning of the tailgating to kickoff and hopefully the game itself. Somebody says this with regard to the Saturday. Let's see what happens after the post-game show on Saturday. Yeah. I'm hoping it should be a pretty spirited post-game show.
Oh, I think it'll be great. I don't know. Let's hope we're not frustrated with a bunch of stuff, but I think you're gonna see a team that's really excited to play, and I think they're gonna be really excited, just for the momentum that this program has built over the last few months. It's just hard to imagine them coming out and not being really fired up.
Yeah. No, I think that's a really good point, because that ball of twine that's now rolled up into the world's largest ball of twine is rolling down the hill, and it just cannot be stopped.
Okay.
You ever notice that? When you see something and it just picks up momentum. It's a big, huge rolling ball of something, and it just steams over people.
Feels like this thing is steaming, big time, and rolling and picking up, but. I mean, a loss will stop it.
Yes.
It'll go from...
explode.
Yes.
Right?
It would just suddenly be nothing.
You know what the solution is? Just don't lose. Just win them all. We can do that. We're allowed. It's not against the rules.
Somebody asked this, what's y'all's estimated crowd attendance for Saturday? Butts and seats, not tickets sold.
That's a good question.
I ran into a guy of knowledge in the parking lot the other day. He was off to lunch, and we just said hi. And I said, hey, what's it look like? And he said it's almost sold out.
I'm going to say 60.
Yeah. Now, how many will be there in the fourth quarter?
Yeah. I'm not going to be devastated if it's because you're blowing somebody up.
Right.
Yeah. That's not going to disappoint me that much.
Yeah. People are saying, okay, well, I've seen what I needed to see. Mm-hmm. Now I'm headed to wherever I'm going. Mm-hmm. Parking lot or post game or things along those lines. So 7:24 this morning here on the morning drive. Red Raider 2 goes saying, I'm saying that will be the first time that people will be critical. I'm sure somebody will find something to be critical about on the post game show, without question. That's been my experience. It's been my experience that even with wins, there have been critiques.
Yeah, sure. Even if a team plays really, really well, a head coach is always going to have things that they, kind of keep his team grounded that they could have done better and that they need to improve on. So I think it's fair that the fan base is the same way, right? Even if you win, you're like, yeah, but we gave up too many points, or
stupid penalties.
Yeah, we still didn't get any pressure on the quarterback. So there's still things that you're wanting to get better at.
Put them away. So can't win big enough.
So even if we win handily, I think you're still going to be like, yeah, but.
What will be the yeah but? Will be Would the yeah but be the quarterback ran for over 100 yards and you're concerned about your ability to chase him down? Would the yeah but be, we couldn't, in between the tackles, we couldn't get any penetration, and as a result,
still couldn't run the football in short yardage situations, right, or weren't good in the red zone, or missed 2 chip shot field goals, or
what's the yeah but? That's really good. What's the yeah but? 7:25. Jamie's got a question of the day that's next. I don't know that you can use the yeah but Jamie will throw one at us. You, me, and Jeff. That's next year this morning on the Morning Drive.
Getting you up and getting your sports day started. This is the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is presented by Bizarre Solutions. Call them today for a free cybersecurity audit.
You basically get one question a day here, officially. You can have as many questions as you want of us. But this one is directed at Jeff and I and our fine listening audience.
Okay, today's question surrounds the Red Raider football team. Which position group do you think will perform better than most people think? Maybe they're being overlooked. Maybe they're being questioned. Maybe people are worried about them. But which position group do you think will be better than most people expect?
Well, I think it'd be almost... It'd be easy to say, offensive line, but I'm not going to say that because I'm concerned about that.
Why would it be easy?
Because I think that's kind of a target.
They have the most potential to improve on expectations.
Because they have the lowest expectations.
Yeah.
They have the most potential to improve.
Well, that can be your answer.
I'm going to say the linebackers. I'm going to say, what you've kind of done at linebacker with, Josiah Pierre, having Krishan Merriweather back for a senior year, Kosai Eldridge, the backups that you have, the guy on the edge with Tyree Wilson and Joseph Aderai. Is that right?
I still think it's really odd that Tyree Wilson is listed as a linebacker.
Yeah. They have him listed as an edge, right?
I mean, he plays inside at times, doesn't he?
Yeah.
On the defensive line?
Yeah.
How in the world? I mean, but I guess that speaks to his versatility.
So,
that he can, stand up and still make plays for you, but also get down there in the trenches and the warfare down there and still make big plays.
What do you think, Jeff?
Because there's enough people out there that think that we're going to be making a change at this position at some point in the season. I don't think that's the case. I think we might have to have a second quarterback out there, but it won't be for performance. I think it's quarterback. That you're going to see some of the best quarterbacking you've seen from that group this year that you've seen in a while.
I think that's fair as far as you'll see better quarterback play than we've seen in recent years.
But the expectation, we're not I'm not predicting Graham Harrell numbers or Patrick Mahomes numbers, but Sonny Cumbie numbers, for the feeling of the Cumbie year, I could see that absolutely happening this year, and that's not what's expected right now.
Yeah. I don't think I would go with your answer just because I have high expectations for the quarterbacks, especially in Zach Hitley's offense. I think you're going to see quarterbacks put up big numbers. But that's just, again, that's about where your expectations are. Excuse me. And where your expectations are with them compared to the offensive line that you're much lower. I'm going to go with the wide receivers. I think that we have a lot of guys that have been waiting their turn and guys that are going to get their chance to shine this year. And in this offense, I think you'll see them get the ball in their hands a bunch. And I think by the end of the year, we'll be talking about, here it was again, another year of plug and play with you recruit some good receivers, they come in, they wait their turn, and then they're making plays for you. And again, in this offense, they're going to get their opportunity.
I think that's a good answer. I mean, especially when you kind of look at the guys that are there, whether it's Price or White or Loic Fungi or Brady Boyd. You also have, the tight end group, whether it's Henry Teeter or Mason Tharp or Baylor Cupp. All those guys highly capable of catching the ball. If you want to include the tight ends in your wide receiver group,
sure.
I understand that. So I think Jeff makes an interesting point, because I do think if you stopped 1,000 cars out here at 4th and Avenue Q or wherever, 6th and O, said, "Do you expect Tyler Shuck to start all 12 games?" I think people would say no. And it could be...
I would agree.
Could be injury. It could be performance.
Mm-hmm.
Just
in recent years, injuries has caused you to not start the same guy every game.
Sure. But then, after hearing what Coach Kitley said on Monday, where made it sound like there really wasn't much of a competition, or that it was clearly obvious to the point where they didn't even really have a meeting. I'm sure they discussed it. I'm sure that all those position groups are discussed in terms of how each player is playing, whether it's with the offensive coordinator and his, position groups, offensive line or running backs or wide receivers, and, head coach is ultimately, responsible for who's trotting out there, but probably is reliant upon his respective coordinators, whether it's special teams, defense, or offense. But I do think the expectation is that people look at this quarterback group and go, well, I mean, it looks to us like all three of these guys are equal, but maybe it looks to them like one is way, way better than the others. Mm-hmm. Because that's kind of what it's been made out to be, and who knows? Once you get into the meteor schedule, like especially Houston, and then it ramps up real quickly with North Carolina State and Texas.
Yeah, and you were kind of worried about the whole, if you have three, you don't have one, when they were saying everybody's performing well and they're battling it out. But after you hear Coach Kitley say, no, one was clearly better than the others. This was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Maybe that makes you feel like, okay, we didn't have three. We just had one.
We had one, right. And we feel like the other two are capable, but they're still learning the process. And, on one hand, the quarterback's the most important position on the field, right? Would you agree with that?
Sure.
And then would you say, too, that it's the most complicated position on the field?
Oh, I would guess so, yeah.
Yeah, because you got to know where everybody's going to be.
Never played a high level of football, but yeah, I would think that.
Yeah. So, I mean, you've got to have some wits about you in addition to arm strength and skill, escapability, unflappability, all those things that come with it. You've got the tangibles and the intangibles. And my guess is the intangibles to a degree are stuff. Sometimes it's just stuff that you either develop or you just have it. And then the tangibles are things that you can somewhat control in terms of your ability to, have a grasp of the offense, or, the plays, or, just the pure ability, to throw the football down the field. So, I don't know. It's interesting. Austin asked this question off the Yates Flooring Center chat line. What's our expected pass ratio? I don't think we know that. I mean, Coach Kitley was pretty emphatic that we're going to run the football and that the game will dictate, what your ability is to do that. But if you had to guess, would you say 75-25?
No, I don't think I'd go that far. I think 70-30.
Okay.
So I'm not too far away from you.
Yeah. But, I mean, if they're giving you...
Maybe 65-35, something like that, maybe. Maybe 2 out of every 3.
Okay.
So,
but, I mean, if for whatever reason you're able to run the football, I think you're going to run the football because that moves the clock. And then that opens up the passing, maybe opens up the passing game over the middle, or opens up the passing game downfield.
These are all things that the previous coaches knew too.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. No doubt about it.
This is not new.
No.
Yet we still choose to throw it a lot.
That's kind of what we've done here, right?
Well, I don't think it's as much about me personally, over the years, I don't think it's been as much about, I want to pass more than I want to run. It's not having confidence in your offensive line. It's easier to pass block than it is run block.
Yeah.
And so you had offensive lines where you could handle passing more. I mean, I think every one of these coaches would have run the ball more if your offensive line was better.
Yeah.
If you could manhandle people up front and create running lanes. So you weren't able to do that. I mean, go all the way back to Leach. I would think he would have ran the ball more if our offensive lines were better. And Leach had some good offensive lines.
Recapping yesterday while looking ahead to today's sports day. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3.
Got 2 sleeps left for Texas Tech football tonight, tomorrow night. Then it's game day on Saturday. You'll hear it right here on Double T 97.3. With Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire, I'm Chuck Heinz. We come to you this morning from the First United Bank Double T 97.3 studio. Look forward to your thoughts, comments. Yates Flooring Center chat line. Benchmark hotline is open as well, 806-771-0973. All right, let me set the deck for you for today. Tech Talk is on location today at Twin Peaks. They'll be there from 3 until 6, so go by and visit with Aaron Dickens and Mike Gustafson today, or just sit and enjoy and maybe have a cold brew and an appetizer or a burger or something along those lines while you sit and enjoy Tech Talk this afternoon. You know, if you're one of those ones that works for a living and works outside and you're like, it's just too wet. It's just too wet to work today. You know, or you get your job done early. You want to go over there, whether you're, if you've got lawyering to do or doctoring to do or just got a regular job, you get done a little bit early, head over to Twin Peaks this afternoon. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, have fun.
Have fun. Okay.
Yeah, get out of the rain.
Get out of the rain, right?
Or the sun or whatever.
Whatever it is. Mm-hmm. We'll have Red Raider football tonight with Joey McGuire, his inaugural show. That'll be at 6 o'clock. I bet you he's just like, Saturday can't get here fast enough. You know, you've had all these things that have taken place, and the fact that he hasn't been a coach in a game since November. Because remember, he left a team during the season in Baylor to take the head coaching job and wasn't involved in any of the practices because he officed over on the east side away from the football team and the previous staff while putting his staff together. Got to experience the bowl game but didn't coach it. I mean, he was there, but he didn't coach it.
Sure.
And got to coach the spring and obviously, you know, over the summer and now the fall camp. But in terms of a game, it's been last November. So probably itching to go. Okay?
Gotta believe so.
Gotta believe so. We'll have Big Ten football on the air tonight for you after Red Raider football with Joey McGuire. That'll be at 7, featuring Penn State and Pittsburgh. Or Penn State and Purdue, I should say. That's tonight at 7 after Red Raider football with Joey McGuire. There are some top 25 games tonight. Central Michigan goes to number 12, Oklahoma State. You think Okie State wins this game handily?
Yes.
Yeah. You think part of that, even though that many of those players weren't involved in that game, but the head coach was and fans?
I think it has nothing to do with that game.
Okay. All right.
From a few years ago. How many years ago?
Oh, I don't know. I'm going to say 5.
Okay, and you think these Oklahoma State players are motivated by that?
No, I think...
I mean, their fans probably want to beat the Jeekers out of...
Right.
Out of Central Michigan, but...
2016, so it was 6 years ago.
These kids don't even know it existed.
No, you're right.
These kids are, much more interested in how many likes they got on their last post on Twitter.
Yeah.
They have no... we're going to win this one for the class of 2016.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no.
Fan base remembers, yes, 100%. And they want to beat Central Michigan and rub their nose in it, sure.
Yeah, so
but I don't think any of these players are upset about it.
No, I think you're right. Jamez Kimbrough, a center for Central Michigan, was asked about the upset, and basically he made mention of the fact of it's not something that you. Of course, it's out there. The media talks about it. It's not something you could just act like you don't see, but we don't focus on that stuff. Okay.
He was the center for Oklahoma State.
No, he's the center for Central Michigan right now.
Yeah.
Cooper Rush, though, was the guy that connected on the Hail Mary, plus a lateral and a run, and Central Michigan had
on a play that should not have happened.
On a play that should not have controversial.
Well, just we're wrong call by the official.
Yeah, on an intentional grounding that was called on Oklahoma State on 4th down. So they won. Central Michigan did 30-27. It's just like if North Texas came here, we'd be talking about 1999 and 1988.
We would, and the fan base would, yes.
And the head coach would be like, okay, I was in high school, in 1988 or 1999.
Not the players.
But not the players.
Not the players.
Yeah, not the players. And when I mean in high school, Joey McGuire's 10 years younger than me, so probably graduated from high school in 89. So he was probably literally in high school in 1988 when North Texas beat Spike here. And in 99, he was probably coaching high school somewhere when North Texas came here and beat Spike here. And that's 23 years ago.
How many times did North Texas come here and win?
Twice. 88 and 99.
Crazy, huh?
Yeah. And dang near beat us with Mike Leach.
I thought they beat us when I was going to school.
Well, 99.
I was out of school. But
you were out of school in 99. That's one of those games you just don't forget.
Man,
don't forget how angry you were after.
No, you're right, Chuck. They almost beat us when I was in school. That was the game where
Kevin Curtis.
They had a guy going, looked like he was going to score, and Curtis reached around and knocked the ball away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we barely held on to win. Yep, you're right. We didn't lose to him.
And not only did he knock the ball away after the ball was completed, and he's going down the east sideline where it looked like he was going to score, but the ball takes a fortuitous bounce, and Curtis is able to get it, and it's
awesome play by Kevin. Yeah.
Awesome play, because if the ball goes out of bounds, then
it's still their ball.
It's still their ball. Yeah. Right. It's still their ball.
Yep.
So
yeah.
That was one of those deals where
it was one of those. I was wrong. I'm not trying to make an excuse, but it was one of those days where you won and it still felt like you lost.
Oh yeah,
because it took a miracle to beat North Texas.
And you're going to say when I say this, you're going to say I'm crazy, but if you lose that game like others had lost, because people weren't they weren't in love with Mike Leach yet. I want to say that was, I don't know what year that was. If it was
the year I'm talking about was still Coach Dykes.
99 was Coach Dykes. Yeah. Leach was the one that was coach on the Kevin Curtis play. I got to get I'm looking for my year by year here. But yeah, Leach was the coach for that game, and you were lucky to, like I said, win. But if they'd have lost that game, there'd have been people that would have been ready to run him out of town because it wasn't exactly going swimmingly. Year by year, here we go. I think it was 01. Let's see here, Texas Tech versus North Texas. No, in 01 we beat them handily. It was 2000. It was his first year. 13-7, Texas Tech wins at home in front of 36,925. The third of four games against Patsies. You'd beaten New Mexico, Utah State, quarterbacked by Matt Wells, and then North Texas. What are you laughing at?
No, I'm not laughing at anything. Okay. You're good.
You've been listening to the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3. For more from Lubbock Sports Station, go to doublet973.com.